Hello, welcome. Pull up a chair and grab a project, and join me, Karasu, in Storytimes&Crafts. We will be continuing our story of Apollo's Trials of Apollo. Almost forgot the book there. Today we are going to be listening to chapters 1 and 2. I figured since chapter 1 was so short, I could probably get 2 in at the same time. This is actually a different diamond painting than chapter 1. I actually finished Jack-o'-lantern Times before I recorded this one, so I will be doing a post review on that here shortly. This particular diamond painting is a Descendants of the Volcano. It is a very unruly painting for my small setup, but I have managed. It is from Diamond Art Club. My pin, my cover minder are from Diamond Art Club. I have a random, unfortunately, I'm still getting storage solutions, so that's one of the projects that I'm hopefully going to be doing instead of random like Dollar Tree, Dollar General stuff. I tried finding where my boat came from. Unfortunately, it took my husband reminding me to the fact that it was a gift. It's from Etsy. Other than that, he won't tell me or I can't find it. Either way, let's get into our chapters today. Chapter 2. A Girl from Nowhere. Completing my embarrassment. Stupid bananas. I had not been stomped so badly since my gutter contest against Chuck Berry in 1957. As Cad and Mikey kicked me, I curled into a ball, trying to project my ribs and head. The pain was intolerable. I retched and shuddered. I blacked out and came to, my vision swimming with red spots. When my attackers got tired of kicking me, they hit me over the head with a bag of garbage, which burst and covered me in coffee grounds and moldy fruit peels. At last they stepped away, breathing heavily. Rough hands patted me down and took my wallet. "Looky here," said Cad. "Some cash and an ID for Lester Papadoodles." Mikey laughed. "Lester? That's even worse than Apollo." I touched my nose, which felt roughly the size and texture of a waterbed mattress. The fingers came away glazed red. "Blood," I muttered. "That's not possible." "That's very possible, Lester," Cad chided next to me. "And there might be more blood in your near future. You want to explain why you don't have a credit card or a phone? I'd hate to think I did all this stomping for just $100. I stared at the blood on my fingers. I was a god. I did not have blood. Even when I'd been turned mortal before, golden ichor should run through my veins. I had never before been so converted. It must have been a mistake, a trick, something. I tried to sit up. My hand hit a banana peel and I fell again. My attackers howled in delight. "I love this guy," Mikey said. "Yeah, but the boss told us he'd be loaded," Cad explained. "Boss," I muttered. "Boss?" "That's right, Lester." Cad flicked a finger against the side of my head. "Go to the alley," the boss told us. "Easy score. He said we should rough you up, take whatever you had, but this?" He waved the cash under my nose. "This isn't much of a payday." Despite my punishment, I felt a surge of hopelessness. If these thugs had been sent here to find me, their boss must be a god. No mortal would have known I would fall to earth in this spot. Perhaps Cad and Mikey were not human either. Perhaps they were cleverly disguised monsters or spirits. At least that would explain why they had beaten me so easily. Who's your boss? I struggled to my feet, coffee grounds dripping from my shoulders. My dizziness made me feel as if I were flying too close to the flames of primordial chaos, but relieved to be humbled. Did Zeus send you? Or perhaps Eris? I demand an audience. Mikey and Cad looked at each other as if to say, "Can you believe this guy?" Cad picked up his knife. "You don't take a hint, do you, Lester?" Mikey pulled off his belt, a length of bike chain, and wrapped it around his fist. I decided to sing them into submission. They may have resisted my fist, but no mortal could resist my golden voice. As I tried to decide between "You Send Me" and an original composition, "I'm your poetry god, baby," when a voice yelled, "Hey!" The hooligans turned. Above us, on the second-story fire escape landing, stood a girl of about 12. "Leave him alone," she ordered. My first thought was that Artemis had come to my aid. My sister often appeared as a 12-year-old girl for reasons I've never understood, but something told me this was not she. The girl in the fire escape did not exactly inspire fear. She was small and pudgy, with dark hair chopped in a messy peg boy style, and black cat eyes glistening with rhinestones glittered in the corners. Despite the cold, she wore no coat. Her outfit looked like it had been picked by a kindergartner. Red sneakers, yellow tights, and a green tank dress. Perhaps she was on her way to a costume party, dressed like a traffic light. Still, there was something fierce in her expression. She had the same obstacle scowl my old girlfriend Karen used to get whenever she wrestled lions. Mikey and Cad did not seem impressed. "Get lost, kid," Mikey told her. The girl stomped her feet, causing the fire escape to shudder. "My alley, my rules." Her bossy, nasty voice made her sound like she was chiding a playmate on the game of make-believe. "Whatever that loser has is mine, including his money." "Why is everyone calling me a loser?" I asked weakly. The comment seemed unfair, even if I was beat up and covered in garbage, but no one paid me any attention. Cad glared at the girl. The red from his hair seemed to be seeping into his face. "You've got to be kidding me. Beat it, you brat." He picked up a rotten apple and threw it. The girl didn't flinch. The fruit landed at her feet and rolled harmlessly to a stop. "You want to play with food?" The girl wiped her nose. "Okay." I didn't see her kick the apple, but it flew back with deadly accuracy and hit Cad in the nose. He collapsed on his rump. Mikey snarled, marched toward the fire escape ladder, but a banana peel seemed to slither directly into his path. He slipped and fell. Oof! I backed away from the falling thugs. I wonder if I should make a run for it, but I could barely hobble. I also did not want to be assaulted with old fruit. The girl climbed down over the rails and dropped to the ground with surprising nimbleness and grabbed a sack of garbage from the dumpster. "Stop!" Cad did a sort of cluttering crab walk to get away from the girl. "Let's talk about this." Mikey groaned and rolled onto his back. The girl pouted. Her lips were chapped. She had whiskery black fuzz on the corner of her mouth. "I don't like you guys," she said. "You should go." "Yeah," Cad said. "Sure, just..." He reached for the money scattered among the coffee grounds. The girl swung the garbage bag. In mid-arc, the plastic exploded, disgorging an impossible number of rotten bananas. They knocked Cad flat. Mikey was plastered with so many peels he looked like he had been attacked by carnivorous starfish. "Leave my alley," the girl said. "Now." In the dumpster, more trash bags burst like popcorn kettles, showering Cad and Mikey with radishes, tomato peels, and other compost materials. Miraculously, none of it got me. Despite their injustice, the two thugs scrambled to their feet and ran away screaming. I turned towards my pint-sized savior. I was no stranger to dangerous women. My sister could rain down arrows of death. My stepmother, Hera, regularly drove humans mad so that they would hack each other to pieces. But this garbage-wielding 12-year-old made me nervous. "Thank you," I ventured. The girl crossed her arms. On her middle finger she wore matching gold rings with circlet signs. Her eyes glinted darkly like a crow's. I can make that comparison because I converted crows. "Don't thank me," she said. "You're still in my alley." She walked a few circles around me, criticizing my appearance as if I were a prized cow. I could also make that comparison because I used to collect prize cows. "You're the god Apollo." She sounded less than awestruck. She also didn't seem fazed by the idea of a god walking around mortals. "You were listening then?" She nodded. "You don't look like a god." "I'm not at my best," I admitted. "My father Zeus has exiled me from Olympus. And who are you?" She smelled faintly of apple pie, which was surprising since she looked so grumpy. Parts of me wanted to find a fresh towel, clean her face, and give her money for a hot meal. Part of me wanted to fend her off with a chair in case she decides to hit me. She reminded me of a stray my sister was always adopting: dogs, panthers, homeless maidens, small dragons. "My name is Meg," she said. "Short for Mega or Margaret?" "Margaret, but don't call me Margaret." "And you are a demigod, Meg?" She pushed up her glasses. "Why would you think that?" Again, she didn't seem surprised by my question. I sensed she had heard the term before. "Well," I said, "you obviously have some power. You chased off those hooligans with rotten fruit. Perhaps you have banana kindness? Or you can control garbage? I once knew of a Roman goddess, Clarina, who presided over the city's sewer system. Perhaps you're related?" Meg pouted. I got the impression I might have said something wrong, though I couldn't imagine what. "I think I'll just take your money," Meg said. "Go on, get out of here." "No, wait." Desperation cracked in my voice. "Please, I may need a bit of assistance." I felt ridiculous, of course. Me, the god of prophecy, plague, archery, healing, music, and several other things. I couldn't remember at the moment asking a colorfully dressed street urchin for help. But I had no other choice. If this child chose to take my money and kick me into the cruel winter street, I don't think I could stop her. "Say I believe you." Meg's voice took on a sing-song tone, as if she were about to announce the rules to the game. "I'll be a princess and you'll be the scullery maid. Say I decide to help you. Then what?" Good question, I thought. "Well, we are in Manhattan." "Mm-hmm." She twirled and did a playful skip kick. "Hell's Kitchen." It seemed wrong for a child to say Hell's Kitchen. Then again, it seemed wrong for a child to live in an alley and have garbage fights with thugs. I considered walking to the Empire State Building. That was the modern gateway to Mount Olympus, but I doubted the guard would let me up to the secret 65th floor. Zeus would not make it so easy. Perhaps I could just find an old friend, Charon, the centaur. He had a training camp on Long Island. He could offer me shelter and guidance. But that would be a dangerous journey. A defenseless god makes for juicy targets. Any monster along the way could cheerfully disembowel me. Jealous spirits and minor gods might also welcome the opportunity. Then there was Cad and Mikey's mysterious boss. I had no idea who he was or whether he had other worse minions to send against me. Even if I made it to Long Island, my new mortal eyes might not be able to find Charon's camp in its magically cloaked valley. I need a guide to get me there, someone experienced and close by. I have an idea. I stood as straight as my injuries allow. It wasn't easy to look confident with a bloody nose and coffee grounds dripping off your clothes. I know someone who might help. He lives on the east side. Take me to him and I shall reward you. Meg made a sound between a sneeze and a laugh. Reward me with what? She danced around, plucking $20 bills from the trash. I'm already taking all your money. Yeah. She tossed me my wallet, now empty except for Lester Papadoulie's junior driver's license. Meg sang, I've got your money, I've got your money. I stifled a growl. Listen, child, I won't be immortal forever. Someday I will become a god again, when I will reward those who help me and punish those who don't. She put her hands on her hips. How do you know what will happen? Have you ever been mortal before? Yes, actually twice. Both times my punishment only lasted a few years at most. Oh, yeah. And how did you get back to being all godly or whatever? Godly is not a word, I pointed out, though my poetic sentiments were already thinking of ways I might use it. Usually, Zeus requires me to work as a slave for some important demigod. The fellow uptown I mentioned, for instance, he'd be perfect. I do whatever task my new master requires for a few years, as long as I believe I am allowed back to Olympus. Right now, I just have to recover my strength and figure out, how do you know for sure which demigod? I blink. What? Which demigod you're supposed to serve, dummy? Well, it's usually obvious. I just sort of ran into them. That's why I want to get to the Upper East Side. My new master will claim my service, and I'm Meg McAfee. Meg blew me a raspberry, and I claim your services. Overhead, thunder rumbled in the gray sky. The sound echoed through the city canyon like divine laughter. Whatever was left of my pride turned to ice and trickled into my socks. I walked right into that, didn't I? Yep. Meg bounced up and down in her red sneakers. We're going to have fun. With great difficulty, I resist the urge to weep. Are you sure you're not Artese in disguise? I'm the other thing, Meg said, counting my money. The thing you said before, a demigod. How do you know? Just do. She gave me a smug smile. And now I have a sidekick god called Lester. I raised my face to the heavens. Please, Father, I get the point. Please, I can't do this. Zeus did not answer. He was probably too busy recording my humiliation to share on Snapchat. Cheer up, Megs told me. Who's the guy you want to see? The guy on the Upper East Side. Another demigod, I said. He knows his way to the camp where I might find shelter, guidance, food. Food? Meg's ears perked up, almost as much as the points on her glasses. Good food? Well, normally I just eat ambrosia, but yes, I suppose. Then that's my first order. Let's go find this guy and take us to the camp place. I sighed miserably. It was going to be a very long servitude. As you wish, I said. Let's find Peter Jackson. Chapter 3. Used to be godly. Now uptown feels shoddy. Ugh, haikus don't rhyme. As we trudged up Madison Avenue, my mind swirled with questions. Why hadn't Zeus given me a winter coat? Why did Percy Jackson live so far uptown? Why did pedestrians keep staring at me? I wondered if my divine resonance was starting to return. Perhaps the New Yorkers were awed by my obvious power and unearthly good looks. Meg McAfee set me straight. You smell, she said. You look like you've just been mugged. I have just been mugged, also enslaved by a small child. It's not slavery. She chewed off a piece of skin from her thumb and spit it out. It's more like moral cooperation. Mortal in the sense that you give orders and I'm forced to cooperate. Yep. She stepped in front of the storefront window. See? You look gross. My reflection stared back at me, except it was not my reflection. It couldn't be. The face was the same as Lester's ID. I looked about 16. My mid-length hair was dirty and curly, a style I had rocked in Athenian time, and again in the 1970s. My eyes were blue. My face was pleasant enough in a dorky way, but it was mirrored by a swollen, eggplant-colored nose, had drooped a generous amount of blood down my upper lip. Even worse, my lips were covered with some sort of rash that looked suspiciously like my heart climbed into my throat. Horrors, I cried. Is that acne? Immortal gods did not get acne. It is one of our inedible right. Leaned closer to the glass and saw that my skin was indeed a landscape of whiteheads and pustules. I balled my fist, wailed to the cruel sky, Zeus, what have I done to deserve this? Meg tugged my sleeve. You're going to get yourself arrested. What does it mean? I have been made a teenager and not even one with perfect skin. I bet I didn't even have. With a cold sense of dread, I lifted my shirt. My midriff was covered with a floral pattern of bruises from my fall into the dumpster and my subsequent kicking. But even worse, I had flab. No, nope, nope, no, nope. I staggered around the sidewalk, hoping the flab would not follow me. Where's my 8-pack abs? I always have 8-pack abs. I've never had love handles. Never in my 4,000 years. Meg made another snorting laugh. Sheesh, crybaby. You're fine. I'm fat. You're average. Average people don't have 8-pack abs. Come on. I wanted to protest that I was not an average nor a person, but with growing despair, I realized the term now fit me perfectly. On the other side of the storefront window, a security guard face loomed, scowling at me. I've allowed Meg to pull me further down the street. She skipped along, occasionally stopping to pick up a coin or swing herself around a street lamp. The child seemed unfazed by the cold weather, the dangerous journey ahead, and the fact that I was suffering from acne. "How are you so calm?" I demanded. "You are a demigod, walking with a god on your way to a camp to meet others of your kind. Doesn't any of that surprise you?" "Nah." She folded one of the $20 bills into a paper airplane. "I've seen a bunch of weird stuff." I was tempted to ask what could be weirder than the morning we had just had. I decided I might not be able to stand the stress of knowing. "Where are you from?" "I told you. The alley." "No, but your parents, family, friends?" A ripple of discomfort passed over her face. She turned her attention to the $20 airplane. "Not important." My highly advanced people reading skills told me she was hiding something, but that was not unusual for demigods. For children blessed with an immortal parent, they were strangely sensitive about their background. "And you've never heard of Camp Half-Blood or Camp Jupiter?" "Nah." She tested the airplane's point on her finger. "How much further is Percy's house?" "Percy?" "I'm not sure. A few more blocks, I think." That seemed to satisfy Meg. She hopscotched ahead, throwing the cash airplane and retrieving it. She cartwheeled through the intersection of East 7th, 2nd Street, her clothes a flurry of traffic light colors so bright I worried the drivers might get confused and run her down. Fortunately, New York drivers were used to swerving around oblivious pedestrians. I decided Meg must be a feral demigod. They were rare but not unheard of. Without any support network, without being discovered by other demigods or taken in for proper training, she had still managed to survive. But her luck would not last. Monsters usually began hunting down and killing young heroes right around the time they turned 13, when their true power begins to manifest. Meg did not have long. She needed to be brought to Camp Half-Blood as much as I did. She was fortunate to have met me. I know that last statement seems obvious. Everyone who meets me is fortunate, but you take my meaning. Had I been my usual self, I could have gleamed Meg's destiny. I could have looked into her soul and seen all I needed to know about her godly parentage, her power, her move set, and secrets. Now I was blind to such things. I could only be sure she was a demigod because she had successfully claimed my service. Zeus had affirmed her right with a clasp of thunder. I felt the bond upon me like a shroud of tightening wrapped banana peels. Whomever Meg was, whomever she had happened to find me, our fates are now intertwined. It was almost an embarrassment as the acne. We turned east on 8th 2nd Street. By the time we reached 2nd Avenue, the neighborhood started to look familiar. Rows of apartment buildings, hardware stores, convenience stores, and Indian restaurants. I knew that Percy Jackson lived around here somewhere, but my trips across the sky in the sun chariot had given me something of a Google Earth orientation. I wasn't used to traveling at street level. Also, in this mortal form, my fearless memory had become flawed. Motor fears and needs clouded my thoughts. I wanted to eat. I wanted to use the restroom. My body hurt. My clothes stank. I felt as if my brain had been stuffed with wet cotton. Honestly, how did you humans stand it? After a few more blocks, a mixture of sleet and rain began to fall. Meg tried to catch the precipitation on her tongue, which I thought was very ineffective way to get a drink, and of dirty water no less. I shivered and concentrated on happy thoughts. The Nile Muse in perfect harmony, the many horrible punishments I would visit on Cad and Mikey when I became a god again. I still wondered about their boss and how he had known where I would fall to earth. No mortal could have had that knowledge. In fact, the more I thought about it, I didn't see how even a god, other than myself, could have foreseen the future so accurately. After all, I had been a god of prophecy, master of the oracle of Delphi, distributor of the highest quality sneak previews of destiny for millennia. Of course, I had no shortage of enemies. One of the nastiest consequences of being so awesome is that I attract envy from all quarters. But I could only think of one adversary who might be able to tell the future, and if he came looking for me in my weakened state, I tamped down that thought. I had enough to worry about. No point scaring myself to death with what ifs. We began searching side streets, checking names on apartment mailboxes and intercom panels. The Upper East Side had a surprising number of Jacksons. I found that annoying. After several failed attempts, we turned a corner and there, parked under a Cape Marl, sat an older model blue Prius. Its hood bore the unmistakable dents of a Pegasus hoof. How was I sure? I knew my hoof marks. Also, normal horses do not gallop over Toyotas. Pegasus often do. Ha, I told Meg. We're getting close. Half a block down, I recognized the building, a 5-story brick row house with rusty air conditioning units sagging from the windows. Voila, I cried. At the front step, Meg stopped as if she'd run into an invisible barrier. She stared back towards 2nd Avenue, her dark eyes troubled. What's wrong? I asked. Thought I saw something again. Them? I followed her gaze, but saw nothing unusual. The thugs from the alley? No. Couple of... She wagged her fingers. Shiny baubles. Saw them back on Parks Avenue. My pulse increased from an alto tempo to a lively agato. Shiny bubbles? Why didn't you say something? She tapped the temples of her glasses. I've seen a lot of weird stuff. Told you that. Mostly, things don't bother me. But if they were following us, I said, that would be bad. I scanned the street again. I saw nothing amiss, but I didn't doubt Meg had seen shiny bubbles. Many spirits could appear that way. My own father, Zeus, once took the form of a shiny bubble to woo a mortal woman. Why the mortal woman found that attractive, I have no idea. We should get inside, I said. Percy Jackson will help us. Still, Meg held back. She had shown no fear while pelting muggers with garbage in a blind alley, but now she seemed to have second thoughts about ringing a doorbell. It occurred to me she might have met demigods before. Perhaps those meetings had not gone so well. Meg, I said, I realize some demigods are not good. I could tell you stories of all the ones I've had to kill or transform into herbs. Herbs? But Percy Jackson has always been reasonable. You have nothing to fear. Besides, he likes me. I taught him everything he knows. She frowned. You did? I found her innocent, somewhat charming. So many obvious things she did not know. Of course. Now let's go up. I rang the buzzer. A few moments later, a grumbly voice of a woman answered, "Yes." "Hello," I said. "This is Apollo." Static. "The god Apollo?" I said, thinking perhaps I should be more specific. "Is Percy home?" More static, followed by two voices in mute conversation. The front door buzzed. I pushed it open. Just before I stepped inside, I caught a flash of movement in the corner of my eye. I peered down the sidewalk, but again saw nothing. Perhaps it had been a reflection, or a swirl of sleet, or perhaps it had been a shiny bubble. My scalp tingled with anticipation. "What?" Meg asked. "Probably nothing." I forced a cheerful tone. I did not want Meg bolting off when we were so close to reaching safety. We were bound together now. I would have to follow her if she ordered me to, and I did not fancy living in the alley with her forever. "Let's go up. We cannot keep our host waiting." After all I had done for Percy Jackson, I expected delight upon my arrival. A tearful welcome, a few burned offerings, and a small feast in my honor would not have been inappropriate. Instead, a young man swung open the apartment door and said, "Why?" As usual, I was struck by his resemblance to his father, Poseidon. He had the same sea green eyes, the same dark tossed hair, the same handsome features that could shift from humor to anger so easily. However, Percy Jackson did not favor his father's choice garb of beach shorts and Hawaiian shirts. He was dressed in normal jeans and a blue hoodie with the words "Ash Swim Team" stitched across the front. Meg inched back into the hallway, hiding behind me. I tried to smile. "Percy Jackson, my blessings upon you. I am in need of your assistance." Percy's eyes darted from me to Meg. "Who's your friend?" "This is Meg," I said, "a demigod who must be taken to Camp Half-Blood. She rescued me from street thugs." "Rescued?" Percy scanned my bruised face. "You mean the beat-up teenager looking isn't just a disguise?" "Dude, what happened to you?" "I may have mentioned the street thugs, but you're a god." "About that, I was a god." Percy blinked. "Was?" "Also," I said, "I'm fairly certain we're being followed by spirits." If I didn't know how much Percy Jackson adored me, I would have sworn he was about to punch me in my already broken nose. He sighed. "Maybe you two should come in." Well, wow. Other than the fact that I can't say names this go around. My apologies if I mispronounced or misread one of the names or any of the names in this book. I'm actually not very good at it, pronouncing names. Last week, I did ask a question on how you guys thought Apollo would get out of his dilemma. Guess we found out. This go around, how do you guys think Apollo's handling technically being a mortal? Let me know down in the comments below. I hope to see you again on the next set of chapters and continue reading this book. If you like what you hear, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. I'd also love to hear your guys' input on how you think Apollo is handling everything. All right. Bye, and I'll see you guys next time.